Imagine staring at a screen for hours, cycling through lines of code, looking for a whisper in the digital noise. Most people think hacking is about brute force, smashing through the front door with complex malware. But it's not. It's about finding the side window someone left cracked open just a fraction of an inch. You're probing a popular app, one that millions of families trust. They use it to track their kids, their keys, their cars. You intercept a standard login request. The app asks the server, "Is this user real?" The server is supposed to say yes or no, but the developer was sloppy. The server doesn't just say yes. In the hidden background data, the invisible API response that regular users never see, the server whispers back a little extra. It whispers a name. It whispers a phone number. You write a simple script: loop, request, extract, loop, request, extract. Suddenly, you aren't just looking at one account. You are pulling hundreds of thousands of names and phone numbers, over 400,000 of them, all neatly organized, all completely unprotected. And that's just the first vulnerability. A few weeks later, you, or someone in your circles, stumble across something even better. A set of login credentials floating around the dark web. They belong to a former employee of a major tracking device company. You plug them in. No two-factor authentication prompts. No security checkpoints. You're in. You're staring at an internal customer support dashboard, the very tool used to process location data requests for law enforcement. You hold the digital identities of millions of people in the palm of your hand, realizing exactly what this is worth. Welcome to the Subtext Project. In today's episode, we are looking at a major incident involving a company that literally makes its money by knowing exactly where you and your belongings are at all times. Recent disclosures around Life360 and its subsidiary Tile serve as a chilling reminder. Location and customer data remain prime targets. We're talking about massive data exposure, extortion attempts, and the dangerous intersection of IoT, the Internet of Things, and supply chain vulnerabilities. So, let's peel back the layers. What exactly happened? Who is at risk? And how can you protect yourself when the trackers themselves get tracked? To understand the full scope of this story, we have to look at two separate but deeply intertwined security failures that hit Life360 within the span of just a few months. Life360 is a behemoth in the family tracking space. They boast over 66 million members globally. In late 2021, they acquired Tile, the popular Bluetooth tracker company, for over $200 million. By merging these ecosystems, Life360 created a massive web of location data, personal information, and device telemetry. The first crack in the armor appeared in March of 2024. A threat actor known on the dark web forums simply as Emo discovered a glaring flaw in the Life360 Android app's login API. Now, an API, or application programming interface, is essentially the messenger that takes requests from an app, tells the system what to do, and returns the response back to the user. In a secure environment, the API only returns the exact information necessary to complete a task. But Life360's login API was oversharing. When a user attempted to log in, the API was returning the user's first name and their phone number in the background data. The user never saw it on their screen, but anyone capturing the network traffic could read it perfectly. The threat actor realized they didn't need to break into a database. They just needed to automate login attempts. By writing a script to rapidly verify accounts, the attacker essentially scraped the personal data of over 442,000 Life360 customers. They weaponized a feature meant for convenience and turned it into a massive data vacuum. But the bleeding didn't stop there. As the API breach was quietly taking place, a second, arguably more brazen attack occurred. This one directly targeted the Tile ecosystem. Imagine the internal dashboard of a massive tech company. These dashboards are the control centers. Customer support agents use them to troubleshoot issues, look up account details, and process legal requests. Access to these systems should be locked down tighter than a bank vault. Instead, A hacker managed to acquire the login credentials of a former Tile employee. Let that sink in. An employee who no longer worked for the company still had active, or at least exploitable, credentials that could access internal systems. Once inside the Tile customer support platform, the hacker had the keys to the kingdom. They gained access to a specific internal tool used to initiate data access for law enforcement requests. This wasn't a standard support tool. It was designed to handle high-level data pulls. Speaking to tech journalists under the cloak of anonymity, the hacker bragged, "Basically, I had access to everything." They used this tool to enumerate through customer IDs. By sending millions of automated requests, they scraped the data of an undisclosed number of Tile users. The threat actor claimed to have pulled millions of records without triggering any internal alarms. The hacker didn't just quietly steal the data and run. They attempted to monetize it directly at the source. They drafted an extortion email to Life360, demanding payment in exchange for the stolen data. It was a classic digital holdup. So, who was actually affected, and what kind of data fell into the hands of cybercriminals? If you use Life360 or Tile, your ears should be burning. In the Life360 API breach, hundreds of thousands of users had their names and phone numbers exposed. In the Tile breach, the hacker walked away with names, physical addresses, email addresses, phone numbers, and Tile device identification numbers. Now, as an ethical hacker, it is crucial to clarify what the attackers did not get. According to Life360's internal investigations, the compromised platforms did not house the most critical categories of data. The hackers did not gain access to user passwords, credit card numbers, government-issued IDs, or, perhaps most importantly, historical or real-time location data. The actual real-world coordinates of your kids, your car, or your keys were not compromised in these specific attacks. But from an attacker's perspective, they don't necessarily need your GPS coordinates to do damage. The data they did steal, names, addresses, phone numbers, and device IDs, is incredibly valuable on the dark web. It is the perfect starter kit for identity theft, targeted phishing campaigns, and social engineering attacks. As for the outcome, Life360 chose not to play ball. When the hackers' extortion demands were met with silence, the threat actor took the data to dark web forums to sell it to the highest bidder. Life360 eventually patched the vulnerable API, replacing the exposed phone numbers with placeholder text, so scripts could no longer scrape them. They also disabled the compromised ex-employee credentials and blocked unauthorized access to the Tile platform. Law enforcement was notified, and the company promised to implement stronger security measures moving forward. But the damage to consumer trust was already done. It highlighted a terrifying reality about the Internet of Things. The devices we buy to give us peace of mind are often managed by infrastructure that is frighteningly fragile. So, what can you do? When a multi-million-dollar company's internal security fails, how do you protect yourself from the fallout? First, you must understand the threat landscape post-breach. Because your name, phone number, and email address are likely floating around the dark web, you are now a prime target for smishing and phishing. Smishing is SMS phishing. You might receive a text message claiming to be from Tile or Life360 support, or maybe a delivery company, asking you to click a link to verify your device or update your payment method. Do not click these links. Threat actors use the trust you have in these brands against you. If you get an alert, close the message and log directly into the official app or website to check your account status. Second, practice aggressive password hygiene. Even though Life360 stated that passwords were not stolen, you should never reuse passwords across multiple sites. If you used your Life360 password anywhere else, change it immediately. Use a reputable password manager to generate complex, unique passwords for every single service you use. Third, turn on multi-factor authentication everywhere it is offered. We saw in the Tile breach that a lack of internal MFA allowed the hacker to walk right through the front door using stolen credentials. Don't make the same mistake with your personal accounts. Require a secondary code or biometric scan to access your email, your bank, and your tracking apps. So, What can you do? When a multi-million-dollar company's internal security fails, how do you protect yourself from the fallout? First, you must understand the threat landscape post-breach. Because your name, phone number, and email address are likely floating around the dark web, you are now a prime target for smishing and phishing. Smishing is SMS phishing. You might receive a text message claiming to be from Tile or Life360 support, or maybe a delivery company, asking you to click a link to verify your device or update your payment method. Do not click these links. Threat actors use the trust you have in these brands against you. If you get an alert, close the message and log directly into the official app or website to check your account status. Second, practice aggressive password hygiene. Even though Life360 stated that passwords were not stolen, you should never reuse passwords across multiple sites. If you used your Life360 password anywhere else, change it immediately. Use a reputable password manager to generate complex, unique passwords for every single service you use. Third, turn on multi-factor authentication everywhere it is offered. We saw in the Tile breach that a lack of internal MFA allowed the hacker to walk right through the front door using stolen credentials. Don't make the same mistake with your personal accounts. Require a secondary code or biometric scan to access your email, your bank, and your tracking apps. Fourth, audit your digital footprint. Do you still need that app? If you bought a tracker 3 years ago, threw it in a drawer, and forgot about it, your data is still sitting on that company's servers. Delete old accounts. Request data deletion from companies you no longer do business with. Shrink your attack surface. Finally, we need to demand better from the companies securing our data. Supply chain and IoT vulnerabilities are skyrocketing. The fact that an ex-employee's credentials remained active and unprotected by basic security protocols is a massive failure in identity and access management. As consumers, we have to start factoring cybersecurity practices into our purchasing decisions. The Life360 and Tile breaches are textbook examples of how simple oversights, a chatty API, a forgotten employee login, can lead to massive digital hemorrhaging. It proves that in the world of cybersecurity, the biggest threats don't always come from sophisticated, million-dollar zero-day exploits. Often, they come from a failure to lock the digital back door. We live in a world where everything is connected and everything is tracked. But remember, your data is the actual currency of the digital age. Protect it fiercely. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to subscribe, share this episode, and stay vigilant. Welcome to the Subtext Project,